on Amazon is not bad.
That's not bad at all. $90. I mean, that's much cheaper than Rode, and it's not quite as polished as the Rode wireless mics, but they're pretty good. Oh, hey Carlos, how are you? Good to see you.
Howdy.
Let's see. Oh, it's in the chat identities or identify settings. Okay, cool. Happy birthday in that time zone. Yay, it's my birthday in Singapore. Thank you, Noodle. You got yourself a meat thermometer and a lemon lime juicer. Oh, nice. Yes, that's the kind of thing I feel like you kind of wait until there's a bit of a discount before you buy them, especially things like meat thermometers that can be a little on the higher side. Cool. Well, I'm glad you were able to find something to pick up. A sale on office supplies. They need to clear them for all your work from home needs. Yes. But I always feel like it's all those little things that, you know, Amazon sells everything, so they have discounts on everything, and it makes it very difficult to find, you know, like...
Well, the thing that I do is I put, like, all the random life junk in my shopping cart, like, a couple weeks before Prime Day.
See, he's smart.
And then I wait for Prime Day to come along, and then none of the stuff I put
Is
in...
it on sale?
I'm really upset, actually. There's some mosquito repellent that was on sale yesterday and is not on sale today.
I had a feeling that might happen.
I'm like, I lost out.
He told
on
me about that
$6.
yesterday, and he was like, it's probably going to be on sale for Prime Day as well. And in the back of my mind, I was like, maybe not. So I should have said that out loud.
Yeah, the things I was holding out on was mosquito repellent, reverse action ceramic tweezers, and solder flux, and new soldering tips.
Okay, I'll pretend to know what those things are.
You know tweezers, how you usually squeeze them?
Hold on for 1 sec. Zombicorn's saying, I guess you're talking about the microphones. It says 20% off, but it's posted at $129.
Just read the next message.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you replied to it. Got it. Sorry. See, you are in chat and replying and talking at the same time. I don't know how you do that. Hey, Carlos, thank you for the snack redemption.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much.
Let's grab that. Yeah, the Amazon sales are now. I'm not sure how long they last into tomorrow, but...
I think it's through, like, tomorrow proper, or maybe tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I thought it was actually on my birthday, because I remember thinking, like, oh, it's Prime Day on my birthday. That's kind of cool.
Nice. So before you get into too much chip stuff,
yes,
I want to show you the most mundane thing I heard about recently.
Okay.
These are reverse action tweezers.
Oh, is this what you were looking at?
Most tweezers are open when you're holding them, and then you pinch them and they close.
Yeah.
These have the spring going the other way.
Oh, really?
So they are closed by default.
Yeah, so when you let go, they
squeeze
close up.
them, they open up.
Interesting.
So,
and they're ceramics, they don't conduct electricity.
Yeah, if you're soldering with them, you don't want to accidentally solder your tweezers onto your circuit board.
That's probably a good thing, yes. Hello, Bemused. How are you?
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Technically my birthday in England as well. Thank you. Yes,
nice.
Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yeah, I was born in England, so I guess British time, I think it was 5 p.m. in England that I was born, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So if you want the exact time, there you go.
Wouldn't it be awful if you had to keep track of the number of times you as a person have crossed the international date line?
Oh gosh.
For like when your birthday technically is?
Yeah. Alright, what kind of snack are we doing? A large snack. Okay, cool. Let's see. Which large snack am I going to grab? Let's grab this one. Oh, interesting. This was, I think, one that Noodle identified and said that she liked the black pepper salmon skin.
Ooh.
Irvin's. Which, yeah, I think I grabbed the salted egg variety too, so we'll have to try those sometime. But I love, well, you all know I love salmon skin, so I had to pick these up. Does not sound good? I mean, you definitely need to be a fan of fish and salmon, but salmon skin in particular is great in this kind of snack variety because, you know, it gets so crispy that it's almost like a potato chip, but it's a little bit healthier. I mean, salmon is oily, so there's fat involved still. Oh man, these look really good. Like, this looks like salmon skin you just cooked up in a skillet. Like, that's pretty high quality. Considering this brand is actually, I believe, from Singapore. Yes, manufactured and distributed, made in Singapore. So the fact that these pieces of salmon skin are actually still in these large pieces after that journey to the US is pretty impressive. but it also looks really tasty.
Oh.
Very good. And again, you don't like the taste of salmon, but if you like the taste of salmon, oh, nice. Nice big chips. If you like the taste of salmon, these are good.
So these are good. They seem like they're puffed rice.
They are. They're almost like, I almost wonder if they're deep fried, because they've got like a puffy texture to them, like air fried kind of thing maybe.
They seem like those chips that they tried selling in America for a while to trick people into thinking they were healthier because they were like less dense.
Right, because they were so almost 90% air.
These are really good though.
But yeah, I mean, you could tell it's like actual salmon, right? Like, it's not like they try to fake it. It is salmon skin. You never got the black pepper ones? The black pepper is kind of subtle, like there's pockets that have more seasoning than other places, and then you really get the black pepper flavor. But it's not as strong as I thought it would be, which is both good because it lets you taste the salmon, but a little disappointing because I do like the flavor of black pepper. These are really good.
Oh yeah, these are kind of like pop chips,
Mm-hmm.
but they taste like the sea.
I'm just gonna have a couple because I don't want to ruin my dinner, and this is a big bag, so we'll save the rest of these for another snack attack.
You should probably put those inside of a gallon plastic bag.
You think so, even though it's got a zip lock on it?
Yeah, just in case.
Okay.
We don't want it to lose its freshness between wheel spins.
Yeah. No, certainly. If it didn't have a Ziploc, I would definitely do that.
Plus, they're all going to be pretty clean afterwards, so we can probably use them for something else.
Oh yeah, we'll reuse the Ziploc bag. Yeah. Those feel like they're really substantial.
They are. I only needed 2 of those, and I'm like, okay, I'm good for a bit.
Yeah.
But now I kind of want another one.
There are. I mean, the bag says dangerously addictive, and it's true, but they're also quite, like I said, substantial. It feels like you don't need to eat too many to satisfy your snack craving. Oh, on risotto, that would be good. Yeah. There's definitely a yay on those. Yeah.
Very good.
I would buy those again for sure.
I'm looking forward to trying the egg variety.
Yeah. Maybe next time. You just ate a bunch of salt and pepper kettle chips, and now you need fried fish skin, or friendly fish skin. That works too. Yeah, salt and pepper kettle chips. I feel like those are heavy on the pepper usually, and those aren't as peppery. But it was good, very good. Definitely a yay. I feel a doggo.
Yep.
Sniffing my back leg. And jumping up on me. Hello. Did you finish your snack? Get the camera reoriented. We got a treat for you. Yeah, there was a treat on the wheel. Yeah, exactly. You want a treat? That's a silly question, isn't it? By me? Yes, good boy. Touch. Yeah, very good. Shake. Yes, good boy. Alright, you're gonna help me do some push-ups. Matt? Stay. Alright, here we go. I'll try and do 10 again.
And there he goes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good boy.
I think he needs some actual stay training on that mat, or I'll leave it.
Yes, he should have technically stayed, but he didn't jump all over me, so That's deserving of another treat.
I know there was a Buster Needs a Treat, so you gotta do Buster treat engagement stuff, remember?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did it before I did the push-ups.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah. Yep. We're all squared up, I think. Thank you again, Zombicorn, for the resub.
You're the best.
Alright. So today, we're doing burgers and shishitos. Blue Apron claims that they are Spanish spiced burgers. Ignore the Beyond Burger. We're not doing plant-based meat today. We're doing actual beef. I'm not a fan of Beyond. If it was impossible, I may have gone with that, but I'm not a fan of the Beyond meat, so I just swapped it out for regular beef. We were bad. Bad for the environment. But I'm not sure how Spanish. In fact, I would almost say they're more Mexican spiced. Because the reason they call them Spanish spice is because of the spice blend that they put in it. It's smoked paprika, cumin, coriander, Mexican oregano, cayenne pepper, and cinnamon. Which doesn't really read particularly Spanish to me. Sounds good, but that's what they're calling it. And so the beer I'm doing today is actually a beer that has a Spanish influence on the name. This is from Brewery Ommegang, Solera. I thought Solera was a reference to like sun, maybe, solar. But I was reading up on it, and Solera is apparently a blending method that's used a lot for Spanish wines, like Madeira. And basically you blend old wines with newer wines to get kind of a spectrum of flavor. A little bit of the aged stuff, a little bit of the newer stuff. And that's what they did with this beer too. It's a sour beer, but they mix kind of the sour, the aged sour beer with the newer, less sour beer to get kind of a more nuanced flavor to it. So that's what we're going to try today. Yeah, Carlos, you probably would be the expert. So I listed the spices. I don't know if you caught them when I mentioned them earlier. They were smoked paprika, which is pretty Spanish, but then cumin, coriander, oregano, cayenne pepper, cinnamon. I don't know. Those are the ones are used in Spanish cooking. But
I missed the smoked paprika at the beginning. I was gonna say like, oh, if you want to Spanishify it more, get some smoked paprika. Yeah. So I'm glad that was at least the first ingredient.
Yeah. Yeah, it is heavy on the smoked paprika, so that's good at least. Very light beer, which is good. Again, I'm kind of doing beers lately that are lighter because it's so hot outside. Actually, the ABV on this, surprisingly, for how light how in color this beer is, it's a 6.9 apparently. I did not see that when I bought it. But it's a tart golden ale is the style. 7-Eleven here has a banana latte, which you tried yesterday. It was interesting. Is interesting good? Banana latte sounds like it could be good, although it depends how strong the banana flavor is and how artificial it tastes. Sometimes banana can be very artificial. That's good. It is actually more sour than I thought it would be, but in a good way. Like it says tart golden ale, so I didn't think it would be super overwhelming, but it's like a kind of like a lemonade type tartness. Is good, even though it's a high ABV. Very refreshing. To be honest, you don't know what spices Mexican use, but half of those sound Spanish and half sound Middle East. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. And a lot of these spices I would expect to see in Mexican cooking, now that you mention that. So the smoked paprika, I feel, is very Spanish, but everything else, the cumin, the coriander, the oregano, the cayenne, even the cinnamon in some respects, I would expect that be a more Mexican leaning blend of spices. But anyway. Yeah, Pimenton de la Vera, yeah. Do you think it's rather famous? You think paprika is from Hungary? Yeah. Yeah, I use a lot of. Yeah, I actually didn't think of that the first time I read through the spices, but when I was reading it through the second time, I was like, oh yeah, paprika's used all the time. So at least there's that. So yeah, we're gonna make these burgers and these shishitos today. So why don't we get started with that? And we're doing Blue Apron this week, which is a little different. We have been doing Marley Spoon meal boxes a lot lately, so this is a slight mix-up from the usual. Alright, might need some more of this, but we'll start here. So here's the shishito peppers. They look really good, actually. I don't know how familiar y'all are with shishito peppers. I only discovered them fairly recently, since moving to Austin, I would say. And kind of fell in love with them, because they're not super spicy, although the occasional one or two in a batch will be pretty spicy and catch you by surprise. But typically they're not too spicy. They just kind of have a nice smoky vegetal flavor to them. And they make a great side if you want something lighter than French fries or potatoes in general, especially in the summer. It's good, but slightly too sweet and just nice artificial. Okay. Something you'd make at home if only there's a coconut banana milk. That sounds like a pretty good review. Oh yeah, the other thing that we're doing on these burgers is there's a fig mayo.
Oh really?
We're doing on them, which I'm not sure how Spanish is. Are figs typically Spanish? I don't know actually.
Check.
Use a lot of paprika in Spain, and what are shishitos? Yeah, so
Mediterranean and Western Asia for figs. Which means they probably entered Spain at some point.
What was the first one you said?
Mediterranean.
Mediterranean, okay, yeah. Well, that includes Spain.
Shishito peppers, the official peppers of time for a beer snack.
Yes, they are actually. Certainly in Texas they are, and I think that's true elsewhere in the US as well.
We went out to a sushi place recently and they had tempura fried shishito peppers.
Yes,
I'd never seen before. They were excellent.
Yeah, we do need to try that sometime. Yeah, so there's the shishito pepper.
These peppers are interesting pepper-wise because they typically do not have heat to them, but about every 10th pepper, maybe every 5th pepper, will have a little bit of a bite. I would say less than like jalapeno intensity, but just enough where you go, whoa.
Yeah, just because it's such a difference from the other peppers you had been eating. So like all of a sudden there's like a very sharp spice to it. It's like, oh, that's new.
If you're eating fried ones though, they get sneaky because like you have the breading that kind of tempers what you're eating, and often there's a dipping thing. And so it's only when you've eaten like 10 of them at the end that you're just like, whoa, why is a heat building? Zap says the red ones are guaranteed heat.
Oh, really? I don't know if I've had a red shishito. Do they have a different name, or are they just ripe shishitos?
I think I might have seen some ripe ones before.
I guess I never thought about when spice develops in a pepper. I guess since jalapenos are typically eaten unripe, and they're spicy then, I just assumed that it was spicy for most peppers as soon as they grew. But I guess that's not the case for shishitos. Just discovered that you've been confusing figs all your life. You confuse figs, higos, with higos chombos. You don't know the name in English. Interesting. I think we probably have to look that up. I do not know Spanish, so as I'm sure you could tell from my pronunciation, so I'm not sure either. Yeah, the red ones are ripe, so I guess the spice comes with the ripening, which is interesting. You learned something new today. Awesome. Isn't that great when you learn something new like that? Especially when it's unexpected. Alright, so we're going to use this lime zest to make a lime zest salt to top the shishitos with later. So we'll keep that off to the side for now. And we're going to quarter up this lime. So how many of y'all have been looking at the James Webb Space Telescope pictures today? I haven't had a chance to look at them in super detail, but man, what I saw is spectacular.
Yeah, Jay Fry posted a link in our Discord's general chat, plug, of a web tool that lets you flip between the Hubble Space Telescope and James Webb Space Telescope photography of the same part of space.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar, James Webb Space Telescope has been in development for years, and
literally like almost several decades.
Yeah.
I think it was like 20 plus years of development.
Yeah, it was planned to be launched much sooner than it actually did. It was launched last December, Christmas Day, actually, funnily enough. And it finally got set up in its location, and all the tests passed, so they finally got a chance to get some actual photos, some deep space photos.
Yeah,
and they released the first batch today.
It's a space telescope that like literally has a shield sitting underneath it to like block out as much light from the sun as possible.
Yeah, because it's an infrared telescope primarily, so infrared is a measure, it can be a measure of heat, so you want to block out any ambient heat that might be affecting the telescope, so you just pick up the heat that's emitted from what you're looking at.
And it has this unique like hexagon mirror system where like the Hubble Space Telescope, they sent it up and it had like a bad fuzzy mirror the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
And with this one, they're able to like actually move and adjust the mirrors. So if that happened again, like they didn't need to spin the space shuttle that we no longer have up. They can like make subtle adjustments to the configuration.
Also, it's hard to make a mirror that big in one single plane, so making a combination of smaller mirrors is more feasible from a construction perspective too.
Yep. So, let me.
Did you? Oh yeah, you posted the picture in the chat. Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna pull up some of them on the overlay now.
But yeah, they look amazing to begin with, but then when you compare them to what we captured with Hubble Space Telescope and such, and the level of detail that we're able to capture now with the James Webb Space Telescope is amazing. So yeah, it's exciting to see what we'll be able to see and uncover in the future, especially considering how much we were able to discover with Hubble. Hubble was like a huge change in astronomy, huge leap forward. So you can only imagine what we're going to get with James Webb.
Here's the real like money shot that I'm sure got them like so much more funding. Is this nebula? This is the prettiest space picture I have seen in ages.
That's a common one that's often used to test telescopes because it is such a pretty.
It's totally gonna be my new wallpaper for a while.
Yeah, it's essentially a solar nursery. You know, all that dust ends up collapsing into stars and creates new stars.
I just want to Photoshop a big Enterprise in the corner. Maybe a Reliant poking its nacelles out of the...
Yeah. The one thing that's not always made clear about photos like this is like whether they're false color or not. I assume some of these are false color because it's infrared, and so it might be moved to optical so we can actually see.
Yeah, these are image processed.
Yeah. So, you know, you wouldn't actually literally see that exact thing if you were there in person, but
Yeah.
still impressive. So sad that Stephen Hawking didn't get to see these images. Yeah. Resilience lived so long, but he barely missed these. I know, that is sad. But he had such a amazing impact on astronomy and astrophysics that I think we're just blessed that he was around to begin with. So, yeah. All right. Cool. So I just cut up some onion here into rounds. We're gonna sort of grill these, quote unquote grill, because they're not actually grilling, but we're gonna cook them at the same time as the burgers. All right, what else are we doing? Garlic. What are we using the garlic for? Is that going into the mayo, maybe? Yes, into the mayo. Okay, cool. That was not immediately clear. Still, the potential of what's out there is beautiful. Oh yeah, for sure. Not doubting that at all. I think it's amazing that we can, you know, quote unquote, see other wavelengths of light in that way, you know? Even though it's not like literally what you would see in optical light, the fact that we're able to process it so that you could kind of, you know, get a sense of what it's like in that wavelength is pretty cool.
Yeah, the first image they released was the classic cluster of stars and galaxies.
Yeah, deep field view.
And this picture is the equivalent of putting a single grain of sand on the tip of your finger and then holding it out at arm's reach and looking at it.
Yeah,
like,
you should post a link to that tweet you put in the Discord.
Yeah.
Because there's a video there of someone like showing that deep field image and then zooming all the way back to truly let you see just how small of a patch of sky it is.
Yeah, the video associated with this tweet is only about a minute long, and it was the first thing I clicked on when I woke up this morning, and it wrinkled my brain. I'm just like, I can't fathom the utter beauty of the cosmos right now. I haven't even solved today's Wordle.
You wish you could strap your stepwatch to your ankle? Why is that?
All this walking around is going to waste.
Oh, because your wrist is stationary? Oh no. I mean, it might still be able to detect your steps, though. I don't think it just detects the movement of your arm. I think it detects the impact of your feet hitting the ground. So you should still get some recognition for it. Let's see, we're going to mix this with the mayo and the fig. So why don't we grate this into a bowl. I think Carlos put a couple messages up earlier in chat about the fig. If you can maybe try and figure out what those things are in English.
Yes. Apologies. I got absorbed in the deep mysteries of space.
Yeah, no, my fault. I started talking about James Webb.
So, in Spanish, there's higos, and then there's higos chumbos, which is what he confused figs with.
Right.
And those are prickly pears.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, I'm trying to find a good stock photo of these. So, if you're familiar with a cactus, there's a type of cactus which has these little red buds that grow off of them, and they have a really sweet nectar in them that is basically like God's gift to carbonated seltzer water.
Yeah, I think that's like... I don't think I've had prickly pear much except for flavoring juices and seltzer water.
So yeah, in English, those are called prickly pears, and it's, you know, prickly like, ow, this is poking me. Cactus.
Yeah, I love talking about the cosmos, but I was also curious what the translation was, because I'm also a nerd about food, so I wanted to circle back to that.
I got your comment through the mod a bit too late, but I definitely agree with the sentiment.
Yeah.
I'll allow that swearing today, sir.
Yeah, no, I love space and astronomy. I have kind of fallen a little off the wagon in terms of like following the small news headlines. I still see the big ones like the James Webb photos today, but I used to like really like get astronomy magazines and really get into the nitty-gritty of it and have a telescope, but I haven't done that in ages.
It's because commercialized space is BS.
That's not the reason.
I know.
I mean, the valid point, but that's not the reason why I fell off the astronomy course, so to speak. It's just life. Other things ended up happening, so I wasn't able to follow it as closely. But I still love talking about it and reading about it.
I hate flying on like commercial airline flights. Like, I am not built to be an astronaut at all. But I am so romantic about the space race era. Like, I will gobble up any space race documentary like it was a big plate of nachos.
Now there's a Texas reference for you.
And so it's super sad that, like, I don't know, that's an era of patriotism I feel like Americans can kind of get behind with regards to nostalgia and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it feels kind of lame that, like, yesterday's daring astronaut is today's tech billionaire.
Yeah.
And I guess it's good that if you have a Jeff Bezos level of wealth, you are helping continue space exploration. And they've done a lot of great research into reusable rockets, and so there's cool stuff going on there. I just feel like
space should not be the domain of those with money. It should be the public domain. I think it was correct to have it be a public endeavor and not a private industry endeavor, but I will stop with that discussion right there. Let's see. You've been stuck at 200 for a bit now because you're not matching the movement from your leg to your arm. Interesting. I would have thought it would have been better at that. It's unfortunate. When you finish your maths degree, you're thinking on jumping to astrophysics. Oh, awesome. You do like biochemistry too, but you feel like maths wouldn't help you at all, and you would start from scratch. I mean, it might help a little bit. You know, I feel like all science has basis in math, and to some degree. So I don't think you'd be starting from zero. But yeah, I get your point. Astrophysics would be amazing. I mean, I feel like I never had quite the grasp of math to be able to do astrophysics. The most I could get to in college was just like, it was literally just like Space 101. That wasn't the literal name, but it was basically astrophysics and astronomy for people who don't want to go into the depths of astrophysics.
Oh man, that sounds awesome.
It was a fun class.
I did Geology 101. I did the exact opposite of that. Andrew, if you wouldn't mind, can you tilt that ring light like a tiny, like 5 degrees away from us?
Yeah, is it glaring at you?
Yeah, I was like trying to look over at Andrew chopping, and I just had a big light bulb staring me at the face. That's perfect.
That's better? Okay.
Yeah. I hope the lighting is still good.
Yeah, I had adjusted it to try and get better light on the cutting board, and you can see now it's kind of a little bit more shadowy over here, but it's not like dark, so...
Oh, you can totally point it back if you need
to.
No,
it's good, it's fine.
Yeah, if Zombicorn could do it all over again, they would go to school for brewing.
For brewing, yeah? Really?
feel like a lot of that requires hands-on experience. I don't know
Yeah.
how much science one can learn.
Oh, there's definitely science behind it. I mean, I feel like that's something you could definitely start. I mean, I know you've brewed beer, so I feel like there's something you have to build experience on. And if you enjoy it, as you expand your knowledge of it, you could just dive into it. I mean,
Oh no, Zombicorn went to school for environmental engineering, which is a great endeavor, but if you went into school for environmental science, you get the great shorthand of Envisci.
advice.
I loved my Envisci classmates. They were so fun to talk about their major. I don't know what they did, but their major name, one of the best.
And everybody knows you got to pick your major based on how cool it sounds.
Hey, you were comp sci, I was comp sci. I think I'm proving my point.
Yeah, so to answer your question, Carlos, we're both computer science majors. And I feel like I did the boring usual track one takes when you do a computer science major. I do programming now. Stuart, though, has kind of veered more into the design side of things.
Yeah, I got out during the Great Recession and was like, oh god, oh god, oh god, I am happy to have a job. And so I ferried around between IT positions for a while, and my job was kind enough to be like, hey, you make the nicest PowerPoint slides around, you should probably go to night classes to become an actual designer. And I did, and now I am.
And he does an awesome job at it, too. And he's one of those few designers who can actually catch developers off guard by giving advice on how you would program something that you designed.
Oh gosh, yeah, they really don't like me, because I'm just like, oh yeah, you need to use a flexbox here, and this needs, like, a 0.5 EM height on it, and, like, you need to scope your controller up, like, several more layers so you can have control of both this portion of the page and that portion of the page. And they're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to know all this, you're a pixel jockey.
Yeah. Yeah, developers don't like when you call them out on their BS, and Stuart has the ability to do that. Speaking as a developer. No, I try not to BS. I try to be straightforward. Alright, so here are our shishitos. Got them covered in oil and salt. We're going to char these up momentarily. These will be the first things we cook, but I feel like I want to get the meat mixed up first as well. So, you know, get all the prep out of the way before we start actually cooking things. So, I'll put those off to the side for now. Hey Alex, how are you? I watched your taco stream. As a sorta Texan, because I've been here for 10 years, I approve of your tacos. I'm not sure if everyone would approve of tofu tacos, but they looked amazing, so good job. And your tortillas looked amazing too, by the way.
We need to do a tofu taco sometime, or just maybe mapo tofu first.
I think we did sofritos with tofu, which I forget if they ended up in tortillas or not.
I don't know.
I would think they would, but I actually don't remember now. You're in the research stage of trying to start a small sake nanobrew, right? Yes, I forgot that you were experimenting with sake. But some work experience would make all the difference. Yeah, I don't know what, like Zap says you could volunteer. I don't know what the logistics of that are, but certainly lending a hand if they're willing to accept the help, which I don't know why they wouldn't, would probably be very valuable.
So the brewery industry is famous for unpaid internships.
Oh, are they?
It's kind of a problem.
I could see, yeah.
There's a bunch of home brewers who really want to pivot to being a
professional brewer,
and so professional breweries will open up unpaid internships where it's like, hey, come work 20 to 30 hours a week at our brewery. We won't pay you anything, but we'll give you free beer and you get all the experience.
Right.
And that was like how the industry worked throughout the 90s and 2000s, and it's only in like the late teens and early 20s that the brewing industry is like, hey, it's actually like not cool that the foundational of all of the entry-level jobs in our industry are based on exploiting labor.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you
It's a tale as old as time.
if you're gonna pursue a volunteer position somewhere, there needs to be a concrete plan of, you know, if you enjoy it, if you have the, like, you're gaining the skills that they need to actually brew the beer or whatever it is you're making, that they'll promote you into a paid position. Like, if they're just going to try and keep you in a volunteer position forever, that's obviously not sustainable and is bad. You know, I feel like if you're able to, if you're in a situation where you can volunteer your time, and it's not a hardship for you, it's a great way of learning something, but that is a very specific scenario that does not apply to everyone and needs like an actual plan of moving into something that's paid. Because if you don't, then you just, yeah, it's a recipe for trouble, I feel like. If you're not getting paid, you should be able to set your own hours. That's true too, yeah. Oh, sake brewery 40 miles away. Well, that would be perfect.
Ooh.
I have tried shakshuka, yes.
We did that on stream about 4 weekends ago.
We did. We actually did it fairly recently. I don't know if you were here when we did... I think you were here when we did the lamb kofta. And I made that harissa yogurt with it. The harissa I used in that was homemade harissa from when we did the shakshuka, because the shakshuka has harissa in it. Kind of an unusual type of harissa, but it was tasty. And ratatouille, I've never made, but I've definitely eaten before. Hey, there you go, there's a picture of it. I was considering making ratatouille because I had a bunch of tomatoes to use up, and that's a great way of using up tomatoes, but that's kind of a long cook time, and it's more of it's a stewed vegetable dish that I feel like is better in the autumn when it's a little bit cooler. Not that shakshuka is necessarily a hot weather dish, but it appealed to me more at the time than ratatouille.
We acclimate and get used to temperatures like so quickly that right now I am saying like we need to do all of the video game streams this winter where it's just us putting on like a pot of beef stew or chili or something and then streaming an hour of some visual novel while everything just simmers endlessly.
Yeah, we should.
And I always think that every summer, and then every fall, it's like, oh, we don't need to do something that's that long.
Alright, gonna do some ground beef here.
Yeah, Carlos was thinking about how common tomatoes are in Mediterranean cooking.
Yeah. That is very true. And one thing I was thinking about doing with all those tomatoes I had, and one of my favorite dishes is pan con tomate, the classic tapas. It's such a great way of getting the flavor out of a tomato. Excuse me. Very delicious bite. But yeah, tomatoes used all over the Mediterranean. And those were definitely all the dishes I was looking at when I was figuring out what to make. Shakshuka was a little bit on the more unusual side, which is why I ended up going to that. Sorry, what were you saying?
Carlos says pisto is probably the summer version of shakshuka, in his opinion.
Oh, cool.
It's like a very similar recipe.
Yeah.
Andrew's a sucker for eggs, though.
I am. Yeah, I saw you mention that, and I actually wasn't sure exactly what it was. So is it just like less cooked down type of shakshuka? Because that looks like tomatoes and, is that bell pepper or?
It's made of tomatoes, onion, eggplant, courgettes, green and red peppers, and olive oil.
Okay.
It resembles ratatouille and usually served warm to accompany another dish.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to say, that's kind of similar to ratatouille. Very nice. Okay. I'll definitely keep that in mind. Yeah, that does seem a little bit more summery, less stewed than ratatouille, so kind of a lighter version of it. Yeah, cool. Make it a charity stream if it's a long-form stewed pot dish. I like the way you think that. We'll have to keep that in mind. Can be served at normal temperature or even cold. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll definitely keep that in mind. if I get some. I'm not sure how many more tomatoes I'm going to get from the garden at this point. It might be later in the season we get some, since it's so hot right now. But you never know. Actually, the next thing that's starting to form are bell peppers. All three of my bell peppers, the whitish yellow bell pepper plant, the green bell pepper plant, and the purple bell pepper plant, they all have peppers on them. So the next bounty we're going to get are bell peppers. So we need to figure out what to make with bell peppers next, because we're imminently going to have a lot of those. Alright, so here's our beef. We're going to season it up with some of that Spanish, so-called Spanish seasoning, which is definitely Spanish in the paprika territory.
We are going to make so many Cajun dishes involving the Trinity. You have no idea.
That's true. That is a great way of using up bell peppers. Yeah, purple bell peppers. They're really cool looking. Although they're more like eggplant purple, like really dark, almost black purple.
I thought you had just accidentally grown some red bell peppers next to a blue bell pepper.
If only it worked that way. Although it may, in some regard, maybe it does. I'm not familiar with breeding plants. Alright, so there's our spice blend. We've got some red pepper flakes here. I think I'll use all of these red pepper flakes. We'll get some kind of spicy burgers here. Or when it gets quote-unquote cold, make a hot soupy dish and ready some stories while it cooks.
We have been known to opine on occasion.
Okay. Oh, I guess I should say eggplant. When I say eggplant, I mean aubergine, if you know it better from that term. Alright, so that is it for the beef. So let's mix this together. I like this a lot because using the regular beef, because I think if they send you the Beyond plant-based meat, it's already formed into patties for you, so all you can do is sprinkle the seasoning on the top and bottom, which isn't bad, but I feel like having it mixed into the beef helps distribute the flavor better. So I'm kind of glad that we got the beef version here. Now let's see if I can do my best at splitting this fairly evenly between two burgers. The tortilla press is available at the Home Depot.
Yeah, so there's a couple websites online. I think Walmart is the one that is always guilty of this, where the website will just be like a shell for online retailers to post whatever they want. So it's like Amazon affiliates.
Yeah.
Or Amazon third-party resellers, I guess.
Right.
But they don't make it clear, because you're browsing like Home Depot or Walmart.com, and you're like, oh, hey, cool, they have this obscure computer part that I want, and then you're like, locate and store, and they're like, oh, well, we don't actually sell this.
Yeah.
You can get a dropship from China, though.
Yeah, they kind of learned that lesson from Amazon, but they don't really make it clear that you're not getting it from one of their stores or even their warehouses. Hey, Rev.
Hey, Rev. Yeah, so Carlos was asking, is this from one of those companies that sells DIY dishes?
Yes.
And a very, very brief thing of meal boxes is, yeah, we subscribe to a few different meal box companies. There's Marley Spoon and Blue Apron are popular in the US. There's also HelloFresh, which I think is the US, and in a few European countries. We saw it in the UK when we were there in like 2018.
Yeah.
they send you a box of unprocessed ingredients. So, like tonight, we just got a package of hamburger and an onion that you have to chop up yourself.
Yeah, Blue Apron, I don't know how much it's available internationally. Blue Apron, though, is one of the more straightforward meal boxes. The recipes tend to be pretty simple. Their idea is that it helps you learn to cook and learn cooking techniques. Which, you know, I don't necessarily need that so much, so we don't subscribe to Blue Apron too often, but they sometimes have some interesting sounding recipes like what we're making tonight, so I'll pick it up. Marley Spoon, I think, is also available internationally, but only in the US did they partner with Martha Stewart. So in the US it's Martha Stewart and Marley Spoon for some reason, for marketing purposes, I guess. But I think it's also in Europe. But yeah, there's multiple ones, and you can pick whichever one appeals to you in terms of what recipes they offer.
Yeah, they usually have about 12 to 20 recipes that you can put in your quote-unquote box.
Yeah.
And they're a little expensive. I think the price per meal works out to about $10 US.
It depends on the meal box service, but yeah, roughly.
And yeah, it was a very interesting time during COVID for a lot of these companies because they got super popular for a while, and then the segment had to contract a ton. So I know there were a few companies that started trying to sell their pre-done meal kits through grocery stores and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and then Zombicorn was just asking about that. I feel like they experimented with it. I don't know if they're still doing that.
There was that one company we liked for a while.
I was just going to
say,
we were doing plated instead of Marley Spoon, but then they abruptly ended it and was like, okay, we're only selling through supermarkets now. And it was like this one specific supermarket company that is nowhere in Texas. So we basically had to give up on plated, but they decided that was the best route for them. I feel bad for them because they did that like right before the pandemic. And I feel like if they had stuck with the mail box version of it, that would have been better for the pandemic. Switching to supermarket only right before the pandemic was probably a mistake for them. But hopefully they're still doing okay.
Yeah, Zombicorn says somebody partnered with Kroger to do prepared meal sort of things.
Maybe that's what they switched. What Plated did was Kroger. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's interesting. Our grocery store has several like ready-to-eat meals or like pre-portioned meals where you just throw it in an oven for a little bit. They do theirs in-house though, just because it's a large enough chain that I feel like they can get away with doing it in their own brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just like doing the meal boxes because we enjoy cooking and streaming.
Yeah.
But trying to come up with 3 things to stream every week and then get the ingredients for them would be a lot.
I'm bad at meal planning, so...
All of these meals we know take 30 to 40 minutes at most on paper, and streaming usually doubles that.
Yeah.
But we get 3 meals delivered every week that we don't have to think about, and for the rest of the week we can do whatever.
And depending on the recipe, I usually add stuff to it or modify the technique or have fun with it. When the recipes are on the simple side, which they tend to be for meal boxes, it gives you room to play with it a little bit. As you get more experience with cooking and understand the flavors you like and don't like, you don't have to stick exactly to the recipe they send you. You can modify it, and so I do that when the inspiration strikes. We're obviously sticking pretty close to the recipe tonight, but that's not always the case. Yeah, food box, meal box, any of those should bring up results. Oh, Home Chef is at Kroger. Okay, we did Home Chef for a little while too. I think they actually are still doing deliveries, I think. Last time I saw them, they were, anyway. That may have recently changed. Yeah, they were pretty good. Their recipes got repetitive really quick, though, so we ended up switching to something else to get more variety.
That was really in the early days, though. It's been like 4 years since I guess 3 years since we've streamed with them.
Yeah, but Home Chef was good. They had some good recipes. I did Plated. I was really disappointed when Plated decided to stop sending boxes and switching to supermarket only, because they had some great recipes. Marley Spoon is like maybe a level below that. They're really good, but they're not quite at the level that the recipes that Plated had. But yeah, we do Marley Spoon most of the time because they have a huge selection and their recipes are usually pretty good. Other than this week, apparently, since we're doing Blue Apron this week.
Home Chef.
All right, I think we can start cooking now. So I'm going to start getting the grill pan. I should actually have been preheating the grill pan before now. Let me get the grill pan hot so we can start charring up the shishitos.
Yep.
Sorry, you were going to say?
A lot of these meal box companies in the United States, when they get started up, they'll put a big distribution center on the East Coast and a big one on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And Texas is stuck awkwardly in the middle.
Yeah.
So Home Chef also had delivery issues for us, which I feel is
Did they?
one of the
I don't
big...
remember that.
Oh, we got cracked eggs like every other time.
Oh, did we?
with them, and just other, like, I think our box was also late like 2 or 3 times, and it was just enough compounding stuff that with the repetitiveness of the meals, it was like, okay, we don't need to futz with this for these meals. But they could have gotten much better since then.
Way out of your price range for food. They are a little on the expensive side. Yeah. Usually ingredients you can't have. Yeah, I feel like it's probably the bigger issue.
Thank you for your continued subscriptions and bits.
Yes. When you
teasing.
subscribe and give bits, that money definitely helps us keep the meal box stuff going. And hopefully we make it interesting. You know, like I said, sometimes the recipes can be on the basic side, but I try to have fun with it and go a little bit beyond what the recipe says. I think the only modification we're making tonight actually is there's no cheese on these burgers. They gave us the fig mayo, which I think is what they're counting on to give the creamy aspect to the burgers, but we have some American cheese left over from when we made burgers on July 4th, so we're going to put a slice of American cheese, because why not? We're a sucker for cheese, even processed American cheese. But yeah, meal boxes are a little on the expensive side. You're paying for the convenience, you're paying for the recipe research and sourcing. You know, Rev, you're an amazing cook. You have great ideas for food. You don't need meal boxes. But for me, as someone who's terrible at planning meals and stuff, I'm willing to pay that little bit of extra to have that help.
Yep. Anyways, that's our whole deal. Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Tuesdays and Thursdays,
and
yeah.
Wednesday and or Friday, depending on how lazy we get.
Yeah. This week is a bit weird. If you're on the Discord, you probably saw we're doing the meal box recipe tonight, but Thursday we're going to do a gaming stream. If Stuart can get Mass Effect for free
I got it.
during Prime, then I think I'll try Mass Effect, because everybody says I need to play it, so I'll give it a shot.
You don't have to if it's not.
No, I want to try it, and you know, it sounds like a game, at least. The thing I worry about is I'm bad at first-person shooters, so I'm worried about any kind of like gameplay for that I'm going to do really badly at. So we'll see how it goes.
We shall see.
We'll see how it goes.
should
I'll
play
at least
easy.
gonna give it a shot. And then Sunday, or not a stream on Sunday this week. We're gonna do the stream on Saturday instead. Same time, 3 p.m., but on Saturday. And that's because Buster's getting groomed on Sunday just before his birthday, so he can look nice and pretty. But because it's his birthday coming up, our birthdays are like right close to each other. Since his birthday is coming up, we're going to do some dog treats for Buster and maybe tie in the same flavor to do something Stuart and I can eat. So it'll be a fun like combo dog and human treats. So that's the plan. Subject to change, but that's the plan. Mayonnaise has its origins in Spain. I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess is it mayonnaise or is it aioli or aioli or however you pronounce it? I know like the original like garlic paste has either French or Spanish origins. Okay, so that's pretty cool then. I didn't even think of that as being a Spanish connection, but that's really awesome if that's the case. Blue Apron's doing more Spanish style on these burgers than I realized.
Spanish Connection sounds like it should be a knockoff heist movie.
Yeah.
I think the French Connection is a thing.
I believe you're right. I don't know if it's a heist movie. I'm bad with movies. Alright, so the grill pan here is getting pretty hot. We're at about 294 Fahrenheit, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the shishitos on there. We got this grill pan right in the center here. I'm going to turn the vent fan on too, so I apologize for the noise it adds. Hopefully it's not too distracting. It is mostly white noise, so hopefully that'll be okay.
Not smoking that much just yet.
Not yet, but it will be. Now that I got food on there and oil, it's going to start smoking once this gets a little bit hotter.
Gotcha.
I find the fan is more effective if you get it going before the smoke starts being generated. If you start it once it's starting to billow out, then you're too late.
Yeah.
What did you... Oh, whoosh. I thought you said whoa.
Oh, no.
I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, we met up with that streamer who was in town.
Yeah, Jason Sipe and his wife, Kat.
The other day. Yes. And while we were chatting, Kat and I realized we had both played Mass Effect and like both loved all of the same characters, and like we went immediate from like 0 to, oh my gosh, we could talk about this for the next hour if we don't watch ourselves. And Andrew was just staring on like, wow, Stuart only talks this way about things like Star Trek.
Yeah, but I know that that's the kind of appeal and impact that Mass Effect has had on people.
We go to a lot of gay gaming panels and conventions, and every single panel and convention is just the people talking about how much they like BioWare games for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So you should probably play one of them at some point.
Exactly. I do want to give it a try because I've heard such good things. I just haven't had a chance to. But now with the Legendary Edition that they just released, it seemed like now is a good time. I'm going to get this 12-inch cast iron heated up too, because we're going to cook the burgers and the onion rounds in here.
I am very interested to see what the tweaks they've made with the Legendary collection are like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a franchise that has tried tweaking itself a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
it sounds like even the changes between, like, you know, sequels between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, they changed a lot.
Yeah, like 1 had a full-blown inventory and, like, loot system, and 2 was just like, oh, there's 10 guns in the game you can find. Like, good luck. But it was interesting because the first game had planet-side exploration segments where you're driving around a tank.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a very high-up camera, and it looks like you're driving an RC car, kind of. And the first game was infamous for having really weird physics on the tank.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're driving on, like, small moons and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that, like, your tank can, like, ramp off of dirt mounds and rocks and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it was still always about 20% bouncier than it should have been. And it was an early Xbox 360 game, and people don't appreciate how, like, we hadn't necessarily gotten the hang of twin-stick controls in, like, every situation. And so in the second game, they just completely got rid of the tank. And people were like, what'd you do with the bouncy tank? And so they brought it back in the third game. But the Legendary Collection is kind of an HD re-release,
Yeah.
but the thing they tweaked the most, apparently, in the first game is just the physics on the bouncy tank.
Oh yeah, it's no longer bouncy.
It's easier to control, at least.
Ah.
It was like bouncy to the point where you felt like you weren't in control.
Yeah.
Now I think it's just bouncy enough to ramp off of things. Speedrunners love it. You can like ramp over an entire building and just like completely sequence break one or two of the planets.
Oh dang.
It is that bouncy.
That's crazy. I feel like that would be the kind of thing that I would have trouble with though, and I'd start to doubt if I could play the game.
Well, the funny thing was is they realized that the segments were kind of crap, and so they made it almost impossible for you to get killed.
Huh.
Like, there's a turret on your gun, and you can shoot things, and everything's super brittle, and then you can run over half of the enemies. There's, like, one tank segment that requires competency, and everything else is just getting between A and B, because they were like, oh no, we can't actually make challenging segments with this.
Well, I'm excited to try it. I'm just worried that I'm going to be a poor gamer because I'm I don't usually play games like that. I'm excited for the characters and the story, but I just feel like the gameplay might be... Do you know if they have, like, difficulty settings?
There's difficulty settings.
Because I might...
There's a let me enjoy the game
Yeah, I might be a noob level difficulty on that one. We'll see. I don't know.
It is interesting. It's like a third-person shooter,
Yeah.
but you have a skill wheel of like cool magic attacks you can do in this futuristic space game.
Yeah.
And it freezes time while you have the skill wheel up.
Yeah.
So like,
which is nice.
if you're like, oh man, I want to fireball this fool, like you can hold shift and then be like, fireball.
Yeah. That'll help for me.
It is one of the games that helped popularize the Xbox 360 era conversation wheel.
Oh, okay.
I think you'd probably recognize it more from Fallout 4, but...
A monthly ramen box. Is that? Oh, it looks like it's a Japanese ramen box. Oh, and it ships from Japan. Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's pretty cool, Rev.
Yeah, we just walk up to the corner store.
I mean, they might have ramen and sweets and stuff that we aren't able to get here yet.
Yeah. Oh, no, I just mentioned the ramen club we do on Thursdays.
Yeah. No, that's pretty neat. I'll have to take a closer look at that. And there's cute stationery items, too, and anime goodies. That's pretty cool. I'm a sucker for monthly boxes like that. I get a monthly box for Buster, too.
Which is great because Buster sees any brown cardboard box coming in from the outside and is like, it's for me.
Yeah, he thinks all deliveries are him now. He is starting to get kind of an overflow of toys. We kind of need to go through his stash and put away the things he doesn't touch very often. But he does appreciate the selection. He likes being able. Whenever he's home alone for a little bit and we come back, he always grabs the toy to say, "You're back, play with me!" And it's always a toy that he hasn't touched in forever. Oh no, Shishido overboard.
Oh no.
It usually only happens on outdoor grills. Where did that Shishido go? Can I rescue it? I think it's in a spot. It happened to fall down in a spot that is extremely difficult to get to.
Oh no.
See if we can figure something out here. I don't want to lose a Shishido.
No pepper left behind.
Oh man. Got it.
Buster.
You can't escape that easily, Mr. Shishido.
Dork. Man, I was letting Buster out and walked back into the kitchen, and the kitchen just smells like smoky Shishidos now. It's amazing.
Yeah, they're getting a good char on them. It's a little hard to see on the camera. Actually, no, it's not too bad. It was very overexposed earlier, but it seems to have adjusted itself. Hello, Buster. You doing okay?
I have come for the pepper smells.
I wouldn't think you would like Shishidos, because you sneeze whenever there's any kind of spiciness in the air.
Buster has the most adorable sneezes.
There we go. Now the Shishidos are starting to pop open. That's how you know they're getting good and charred. Char. Hey J Fry, how are you? And how excited are you for the James Webb Space Telescope pictures?
Pop quiz, who's James Webb?
How would you describe Shishido? Any other similar peppers?
I would say they're kind of like a less spicy jalapeno.
They are like a less spicy jalapeno. I'm not sure what kind of peppers you are able to get easily in where you are in Spain, Carlos. Here in the States, they're kind of like Stuart said, they're kind of like jalapenos, but not as spicy. An even more accurate comparison in the US would be Hatch chilies, but I, again, don't think those are... There might be an equivalent in Europe, but I'm not sure what they would be.
I would say like maybe a more spicy, less smoky poblano.
Yeah. Definitely. Poblanos tend to have a thicker skin and are much earthier. They're not quite to that level. They have a firm skin, but not quite as much as poblanos. But they do get the same kind of smoky flavor when you char them up like this, similar to poblanos.
Oh wow. The ESA put together a really nice picture of Stefan's quintet.
Oh yeah, I did see that picture. That's almost ethereal in quality and the details you can pick out from it. That picture is fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, the mid-infrared. I am so excited to see what pictures we're going to get down the line from this telescope.
What a time to be alive. Although now I don't know what jokes the local astronomers are going to make when they talk about things that are never going to happen.
What do you mean?
Or things that are massively delayed. I feel like every time we come across an astronomer in Austin, like, the James Webb Space Telescope delays are a persistent gag.
Yeah.
It's like everybody said they would pay off their bar tab when the JWST launched.
On those onions as a snack, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I almost feel like snacking on these onions along with those black pepper salmon skins would be like the perfect, like, appetizer. Yeah, concept art book, it does. Yeah, exactly. I only knew James Webb as a NASA administrator.
Yes.
Apparently he has a legacy of being a little not a good person.
Oh, yeah, he's old.
He's old? Does that make you not a good person? If so, I'm dangerously close to becoming not a good person then.
No, he lived through World War II.
Ah. Okay.
Wow, there's a lot of James Webbs on Wikipedia. There we go. He was the NASA administrator from 61 to 68. He got the space program through Mercury, Gemini, and the Apollo 1 fire. I think he was also a huge racist. I cannot recall. I think that's what you were alluding to.
Yeah, I didn't know this until people started commenting on it with these pictures coming out, but apparently he was not great in terms of racism and accepting or not being accepting of gay folks. And I mean, it was partly just the MO of the policy at the time, but he was gung-ho in enforcing it. Anyway, I don't want to go too far into that, but it surprised me because I didn't know that at all until recently.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Being old doesn't excuse that behavior. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
When you see, like, a controversy section on Wikipedia, and it's, like, wasn't great to certain subgroups of people during the 1950s, it's like, oh yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, I mean, he held the beliefs at the time, but he didn't speak up against it or learn from it. He just stuck with it. And I think that's the bigger issue, is that,
Right.
yeah, you may follow the beliefs of the time, but you don't grow past that.
He was not the guy with the sledgehammer in the Hidden Figures movie.
I don't...
In Hidden Figures, there was the whole controversy about having colored bathrooms.
Yeah.
The head of the Mercury program.
Oh, okay, yes.
Literally
Sorry, it took
knocks
me a moment to remember that scene.
the
It's been a
colored
while
bathroom
since we watched
slide
that
down with a
movie.
sledgehammer.
Yes.
My Wikipedia, or not my Wikipedia, my YouTube algorithm one day discovered I liked that movie and was like, would you like to rewatch Hidden Figures in 3-minute increments? Because I can totally do that for you.
Wow. I don't know if I actually have that on Blu-ray or anything. I might need to...
I think that was right after we stopped buying Blu-rays.
I might... Well, I still buy Blu-rays because I like to have a... I'm
Old school.
I'm old school in that sense because I like to know I have a hard copy of things I enjoy. So I'm surprised I don't have that movie yet. I'll have to correct that.
Blu-ray I bought was the Ghost in the Shell reboot movie.
Really?
Thingy.
I mean, the last movie I bought was,
I bought Carol as well.
Knives Out,
Knives Out.
which is fairly recent.
You didn't buy that.
It was a gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
I bought it. For you.
They're
And then I
good.
made
They're good stocking stuffer gifts.
And then I made your entire family watch it, and it was not the biggest hit.
I was surprised. Well, I think my mom liked it. My dad was a little confused by it, but anyway.
It was too late in the evening to watch a slightly complicated murder mystery film.
Alright, so these onions I think are pretty much done. Pretty close to being done. I'm gonna kind of push these off to the side here, and we'll get the burgers going.
Oh yeah, Jay Fry, I think you're completely right with that being apocryphal.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah. It almost seems too perfect in terms of like the payoff of it to actually have happened. I mean, things like that do happen, but
Oh man, he's just keeping all those onions in there to soak up the burger grease.
yeah,
Those are gonna be amazing onions.
that's the plan.
So, and I apologize that I keep coughing into my microphone. I just
Can you set a 5-minute timer for me? For the burgers?
So there's a book I heard a synopsis of recently that I really want to get around to reading soon. And I'm gonna have to Google the name of it after I describe the synopsis. It takes place during the Hidden Figures Mercury era of the space program. But it's an alternate history book where both the Americans and the Soviets and the Chinese point their telescopes out into space and spot an asteroid or a meteor or something that's going to collide with the Earth in 3 decades.
3 decades. Wow. Okay.
And so it's, or some, you know,
Far enough in the
substantially
future.
long time.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if 1960s America realized it had to develop colony spaceships to evacuate the planet?
Interesting. Okay.
And so it has a lot of political in the synopsis I read. There's a lot of political aspects of suddenly all the world's superpowers like cutting out the bullshit and working together. But then at the same time, like, there's all the racial tensions going on in the US, and everybody's like, hey, this is not a space race anymore, this is a save our planet race. And, like, we ain't got time for racism.
Yeah.
It sounded like an interesting premise for a book.
It sounds like an interesting premise. I would find it hard to believe something like that, I feel like, in this day and age. People coming together?
The first book in the series is called Lady Astronaut.
Okay.
It's by Mary Robinette. I'm very bad at pronouncing names. Actually, oh no, it might be Calculating Stars.
Thank you, Jay Fry. Yeah, the burgers actually turned out... They formed really easily, which I'm kind of... That doesn't always happen, so I'm very happy about that. Also, I think the fact that there's a lot of smoked paprika in the spice mixture that I worked into the beef, that helps bring out kind of the red color, which makes them look all the more tasty.
I downloaded that first ebook, and I'm really looking forward to listening to it.
The Calculating Stars and Lady Astronaut is the series name. Cool. Yeah, let me know what you think of it. Just mixing together some salt and the lime zest here.
Sometimes I like being a few seconds behind our stream on the video that I'm watching, because Buster totally just poked his head up, and I was super eager to see if he actually showed up on camera. Unfortunately, he did not.
Yeah, I think the only time he actually shows up is when he's at the cutting board or in front of the doggo cam.
I'm actually curious what would happen if we moved the camera tripod up like 4 inches and then angled it down by like 3 degrees.
And I feel like that would be great for capturing Buster, but maybe not so great for everything else.
A few people at my office have Dell's XPS 13 laptop.
Yes.
And it's famous for having the most up-the-nose camera of, like, any laptop.
Yeah. Some folks at my work have that one, too, and they're always complaining about it.
So, most laptops have the webcam above the screen.
Yeah.
But Dell wanted to make the bezel really thin on their laptop.
Yeah.
But they couldn't put a webcam up there.
Yeah.
So they had to put the webcam at the bottom hinge of the laptop.
Yeah.
Pointed upwards.
Yeah. It's a good idea in theory, but not great in practice.
Well, it's just so funny because it doesn't have the most flattering...
You can repeat that timer?
Okay. It doesn't have the most flattering, just looking at a camera talking pictures. But if you start typing on it, you look like a close-up of like Bruce Almighty hacker typing. It is a legitimately cool effect to see somebody's hands loom over you and just be like, taka, 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 taka.
You think that's a cool effect? Okay.
Maybe it's because it's all the developers on my team who have them, and they just go taka, 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 and it's like, oh man, they're hacking the mainframe.
Yeah, exactly, Rev. Who wants to look up someone's nose? Even if it is a cool typing effect. Sokatoa? Alright. This is the only audible we're making to the burgers tonight, is adding some cheese. Because cheese!
Okay, this is an actual example picture I found online of it.
Yeah, I feel like that's particularly exaggerated, but yeah. Not the best angle. I'm actually kind of surprised that no one at Dell spoke up and was like, you know, this probably isn't the best angle. People probably aren't gonna like the up-the-nose view, even if it does make our hardware look more attractive.
So, they stuck with that. The XPS chassis has been around forever, and the XPS 13 has been around for like a dozen years at this point or something. It is up there with like the MacBook Pro and like long-standing designs.
Yeah.
And when they came up with the up-the-nose camera, I think that was pre-COVID when people weren't doing as many Zoom calls.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose that's true.
There's a lot of stuff that changed post-COVID.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for the first M1 MacBook that Apple came out with because it had like a dinky 720p sensor on its webcam, and they were like, "We have image processing, guys. We promise it looks fine." But I can't remember if they changed it with the new XPS 13 Plus.
I think they did change it, because there were so many complaints about it.
Yeah. Plus, Apple broke the seal on having a hump at the top of your display for a camera now.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's doing the notch yet, but it's only a matter of time now that Apple has made it socially acceptable to have a notch on your laptop.
The notch, not the hump. Thank you for remembering the correct term.
Although I feel like having a notch on a Windows PC is going to be troublesome.
Yeah, it works on Mac OS because Mac OS always has a menu bar at the top of the display, which takes up the exact amount of pixels that the notch occupies.
Yeah. You did send pictures of the PC you got, Rev. It looks really nice. Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna wipe it, but yeah, I remember you mentioning that. Yeah, that's really cool. If I hadn't built a PC recently, I'd be tempted to get something like that just for the form factor.
What's your thoughts on American cheese?
Singles
as
as an
expat?
expat. It's not my go-to cheese for most situations. But for burgers in particular, it's just the perfect melting cheese. It gives you that exact, like, creamy, melty, gooey addition to a burger that you want to add that little bit of extra indulgence to it. Something where you don't really need the taste of cheese necessarily, because you don't want to overpower the flavor of the burger, but you want something like with cheesiness in it, with a little bit of that tang, but not something that overpowers. And so for burgers in particular, you gotta use American cheese. But I have to say, for most other applications, I use something else.
I just cannot get over the fact that Jack in the Box's tacos, which a fast food griddle burger restaurant should not be serving tacos in the first place, but their tacos are literally just, what if we ground up our patties and then put our hamburger lettuce and hamburger tomato and hamburger onion inside of a crispy taco shell, and oh, I guess we need cheese too. Just tear off a corner of American cheese and stick it on a taco.
Yeah. Which I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I guess if it's the only cheese you have, okay. But that's not really a taco. We've got a bunch of beef grease and olive oil in the pan. So what are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do, Andrew?
We're gonna toast our buns
Heck yeah, I got worried for a second.
in all this grease.
Seriously, this is a crime against tacos.
Yes, yes it is. I mean, if you're super hungry, maybe hungover, maybe drunk, still, although no, you shouldn't be driving if you're drunk. It's a good, like, last minute, I'm super hungry, give me some sustenance type food, but
I think we definitely enjoy Taco Bell tacos.
yes.
I really like Taco Bell tacos because they have the Doritos flavors ones,
Yes.
and I have a Dorito-shaped hole in my heart that can never be filled.
Do you now?
It is just a void that sucks in as many Doritos as humanly possible, and it can never be satiated.
Apparently the key to Stuart's heart is a bag of Doritos.
But Austin has a lot of quote-unquote like fast casual taco places. It's interesting because the two chains in our city that have like 8 locations, so they're pretty, well franchised, is Taco Deli and Torchy's Tacos. And Taco Deli is much more Mexican style tacos.
Yep.
So they will just have seasoned beef with like diced onion and cilantro and be like, here's your taco, sir. And Torchy's Tacos is the American taco location.
Yes.
And they will put like fried chicken and queso on top of a taco
Yes, and not apologize for it.
and not apologize. And it's always amusing how there are just two very different ends of a spectrum readily available in one city. And everybody argues over who has the better queso.
Yeah, queso is a hot topic in Austin. Don't get you started on Jack in the Box. They've always given you food poisoning in the past.
no.
Oh no.
Yeah, that tracks.
Uh-huh. El Pollo Loco. I don't know if I've been to El Pollo Loco. But yeah, the Doritos Locos tacos are pretty good. If you like Doritos, I mean, it's hard not to like those tacos. All right, I think we have everything done.
I remember having exactly one experience with a Del Taco when I was in California.
I've heard of Del Taco, but I never had food for. I think there's some in Texas.
It's like Taco Covana, but on the West Coast.
Yeah, I think there are a couple Del Taco locations in Texas now, but
I don't remember anything about the fast food, but it was a really fun late night food trip.
oh, there's one in San Antonio. Okay, El Pollo Loco. Well, maybe we'll check them out next time we're down there. If they're in a San Antonio is a surprisingly large city, but if it's within reasonable distance, we'll check them out. Maybe contrary to popular belief, tacos and burritos are extremely rare in Spain. There's just one Taco Bell in your whole region, and it's like an hour and a half away from your house, so you never tried them. I would totally believe that tacos and burritos are not a common Spanish thing. I always feel like they came about through Mexico. I don't know the history of how they came about, but I never hear about them in Spain. It's always Mexico.
I'm not sure either. I feel like it's similar to Italy with pizza, where they have a dish that is recognizably similar to the contemporary version of American pizza, but we've kind of just gone off and done our own thing with it to the point where it's almost indistinguishable.
And I also feel like fast food is not as big as a thing in Europe as it is in the US. I mean, there's certainly some of the large companies like McDonald's that have a bit of a stronghold, but
Tell that to Nando's. They're so cheeky.
well, Nando's originated in the UK, I think.
Oh, I know. I'm joking.
So if you're created in the country, then yeah, you're going to be popular. I guess I should clarify American fast food.
Andrew was...
And at Nando's, I wouldn't even say it's fast food. It's not fine dining, of course, but it's not at the level of McDonald's.
Fast casual.
Fast
it's like
casual,
a Chipotle in America.
Yeah.
Andrew was distraught to discover that I had learned the slang cheeky Nando's when going to the UK for the first time. And I was joking about, we should go get a cheeky Nando's for like the first 5 days we were in the UK. And then our first night in Bath, we discovered that everything in town closed at like 9 o'clock. And our train arrived late, and it was like, we've got to get food, where do we go? And the only place open was Nando's.
Yes.
And I was like, are we gonna go get a cheeky Nando's?
We really upset that restaurant too, because we went
walked
like
in 10
right,
minutes.
like they hadn't closed, but they were in the process of closing, and they were upset at us for going then. But they have rotisserie chicken made fresh and an excellent salsa bar. It's probably the most healthy major fast food chain. Cool. Is it like what is the really good rotisserie chicken?
Boston something?
No, not fast food.
Oh.
There's like their particular style of rotisserie chicken originating from South America. I forget which country, but is
you
it?
lost me.
Yeah, I'm being very vague, so I'm probably not helping at all. But I'm curious if it. I want to say Peruvian, but I'm not sure if that's actually correct or not.
That's probably it.
Yeah, because I've had that before at other restaurants, and it's amazing. So if it's like that, I'll definitely be seeking it out. You got sick of Nando's when you kept being scrolled off the screen, when you kept getting it. Yeah. I mean, that's like with any restaurant food, though, right? If you have it too often, you get sick of it.
So this is not a documented anecdote I'm about to say, and feel free to play it up too if you'd like.
I think I will, because this is looking tasty.
I was like, those buns aren't going to stay toasted for long. There's a podcaster I was listening to in the UK. I think it was Matt Lees.
Oh, actually, we have lettuce too, don't we? Maybe I should put a little bit of lettuce on this.
Oh, we do. And they're like burger-sized lettuces.
Yeah.
I remember Matt Lees giving an anecdote on a podcast that sounded believable enough, where the United States has coffee shop culture.
Yes.
Where people will just sit in a coffee shop for hours chatting with friends or sitting on a laptop. And that wasn't a huge thing in the UK until the late 90s, early 2000s. And he said that the cultural thing that made people understand why coffee shops are a thing you might want to congregate in was broadcasts of the American sitcom Friends.
Oh, yeah.
Friends had Common Grounds as one of the standing sets on the show. And so...
That wasn't the name of the coffee shop.
I thought that was.
No.
No.
It's Central Perk.
Central Perk.
Because it was by Central Park.
Ah, dang.
Which doesn't exist in reality, but it feels like it should because it's such a perfect pun.
It is such a perfect pun. No, sorry. I had a college version of Central Perk. The coffee shop at my college was located in a building called the Commons, and it was the Common Grounds.
Okay, there you go.
And I have been having a good stream.
It exists in Singapore? Oh man. We need to go to Singapore then so we can visit Central Perk.
Yeah, they hung out in Central Perk and Friends, and like rebroadcast of Friends was apparently what the UK folk needed to understand the concept of hanging out in a Starbucks. And like that's when it started to kind of take off.
Yeah.
But that's more an anecdote, so could be apocryphal.
I mean, I could see that. I feel like coffee culture wasn't a big thing when I was in the UK. It's all about tea.
Centralperk.sg.
That's awesome. I'm definitely going to check that out. I had no idea. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of Friends,
Leave it.
but it was on television when I was in college. And so it was kind of the thing I had in the background a lot. So I just kind of like absorbed Friends through the background. So it's kind of one of those nostalgic things for me.
I cannot believe I got the name of that coffee shop wrong. It's such a bad pun. My brain just short-circuited.
It's a
and
good
went
pun.
to...
That's a good dad joke pun. Pub culture. Yeah, there you go. That's the more accurate. Yes. Absolutely true. Fast food is not that popular. Have McDonald's and stuff, but not that cheap compared to normal food. Interesting. Oh, doner kebabs. Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, doner kebabs are awesome. It's not rotisserie, it's fire grilled. Okay. That sounds really good. I definitely would love to give it a try if we're able to. We'll check out where it is in San Antonio. They don't sell the Rachel trifle. Wasn't Rachel's trifle like an abomination? I don't think you would want to have that. More abomination than my upcoming shop challenge basket. Yeah, for sure. I forget exactly what was in that trifle, but it's something I would not want to taste willingly. And I feel like I can at least make something. I mean, we don't have a sauce or condiment yet. Bologna, sun-dried tomatoes, and Oreos. I'm hoping I come up with something that's at least acceptable. Thank you, Zap. They do look good. We'll give them a taste momentarily. Once I get some pictures.
I grabbed onto the peppers and they were still super hot.
Yes. You don't want cold shishitos, do you?
No.
Well, there you go. Hello, Buster.
I just don't have your patented fingers of steel.
Well, I like how these shishitos still have handles. They got the stems on them still, so that helps.
Oh, nice.
You got your fill of shishitos?
I mean, you can see how many shishitos I got.
I'll give you one more because I love you.
Aw. You hear that?
And I got this. This is just lime zest and kosher salt that I kind of mixed together. So I'm going to sprinkle this over the shishitos. You still haven't seen Friends? I mean, some episodes are better than others. And I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, like, these are the episodes you need to watch. But, you know, some of them are pretty entertaining. And some of them are pretty dated at this point, but...
It was like peak sitcom TV,
yeah.
where it's just like...
That's true. It was kind of like one of the last sitcoms on television before that trend kind of faded away to reality TV. Yeah, I don't know if you would get shishitos in Singapore. It really depends on where they grow them and what varieties are available, you know, all
Aren't they a thing in Japan, though? Or is it just a lot of Asian restaurants use them?
You know, shishito is Japanese. At least it's spelled and pronounced Japanese. So I assume it's a Japanese variety of pepper. But I honestly have not researched it, so I don't know if it's the kind of thing where they just gave it a Japanese name to try to be cool. Because that happens sometimes.
Of all the things that would potentially be available there, though,
it does seem like something that...
I would bank on shishitos more than hatch chilies.
Yes, for sure. That is true.
But time will tell.
Yeah, try the Japanese market. You never know. In the US, I feel like they are a little seasonal. You get them more readily in summer to late summer, early fall. I don't know if that is the same in Japan or Singapore, though, so might be worth checking a couple times just to see. But yeah, I really love shishitos, especially when you char them on a grill or a grill pan and get them a little... Because it's not have focus because it's not covering my face and it wants to focus on my face. Ah, there we go. When you get some grill marks on them, some charred bits, that's when the flavor of the shishito really comes out. And we got some lime juice and some lime salt on here, so let's give this a try. So good. I feel like shishitos aren't the most flavorful pepper. They're very grassy, very similar to jalapenos in that sense, like a less spicy jalapeno. Very grassy flavor, which is good, but maybe not super interesting. But when you add something tangy to that, like the lime that we have on these, it really brightens it up and really gets that flavor to the forefront, and that's really good. That's what makes shishitos so snackable. When you toss them with something acidic or a little bit salty, perfect bar snack. If you do like beer, it's a good snack.
It's also good for dipping in things as well, often.
Like?
The sriracha mayo we had this weekend.
I put him on the spot a little bit there. Yeah, sriracha mayo is a good dipping for it too.
Or depending on how breaded it is, you could do it in like a yuzu soy sauce thing.
Yes, we need to do some tempura fried shishitos.
We need to do a tempura stream again?
Tempura in general, yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I am totally on board with this. When can we do tempura stream? Yes.
The moment it dips below, or is like low 90s into the 80s, that is going to be the best day. We should celebrate with tempura.
Tempura stream. Tempura stream.
It has been non-stop, like triple-digit Fahrenheit here, and it is really getting on my nerves. So we need to celebrate as soon as it cools off the slightest amount.
It's 108 today. It was 43 Celsius.
Ridiculous.
I've had to learn Celsius to explain to my Indian coworkers how hot it's getting. And they're just like, yeah, no, it was 46 here last month. So.
Yeah, Shishitos to Rev's comment, typically they're not spicy. You will get the occasional spicy one, but it's never going to be more than jalapeno spicy.
Usually less than that a little bit.
Could fry outside. I've never tried doing frying on the grill, which is what we would have to do if we did it outside.
I feel like having a container of oil over an open flame.
I
you're
mean,
just asking for trouble.
that's what we do here.
Yeah,
This is an open flame.
I guess so, but it still seems.
More flames though on the grill. More
I see.
chance of the flames acting up. We'd have to be a little more careful, maybe. First, you need bicycle gloves because, well, pushing the wheelchair is soreness. Yeah, gloves help a lot with that. Yeah, you should do that. All right, let's give this burger a try. Actually, let me grab a knife, see if we can get a cross section to show off before I destroy it. Stuart is my visual interpreter. You take what I say and you do some sort of reaction to it physically that makes it more entertaining and demonstrates the emotion involved. So, I mean, not the most impressive burger cross-section, but there we go. That's what we have. Some mayo with fig, some lettuce, the beef burgers with the quote-unquote Spanish spice mix in it, American cheese, and the charred griddled onions. Not bad. Funnily enough, I didn't think this would be the case. The fig mayo is the sort of leading flavor after the flavor of the beef. I thought it was going to be the spice blend that we mixed in with the paprika and the coriander and the cumin, and that's there a little bit. But the fig mayo, that's the little bit of sweetness and complexity from the fig is what I taste the most. It's really good. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more of a balance of the fig and the spice mix, but other than that, it's a nice take on a burger. A little bit unusual, different from your usual burger. That's really good. Yeah, controlling the flame and the heat, sure. You know, that's the thing that has been the hardest for me to figure out with grills. Like, I didn't really have a grill that I could use reliably until we moved into our current place, which was, you know, like 4 years ago. So I'm pretty new to grilling. And that was the thing that took me the longest to figure out. Like, I knew how to control heat on a stove, but when you got a powerful grill with that amount of heat power, it somehow seemed more difficult to control that heat. And you have to learn your grill and learn what gets the temperature where you want it. Once you figure that out, you know, it's much easier to cook outside on your grill, but you have to learn that first. But yeah, for sure, you have to, I mean, that's everything about cooking is controlling the heat. I feel like a lot of people they don't expect that to be the thing you need to learn when you start cooking, and you undercook things, overcook things, because you're not used to that aspect of cooking. But yeah, heat control is a huge part of cooking. But yeah, I mean, I think we could deep fry outside. It'll be a little cleaner in that you wouldn't have to wipe up any oil splatters in your kitchen. The thing that annoys me the most about deep frying, though, is cleaning up that vat of oil, the oil in the pot, afterwards. Because I like to reuse the oil, so that means you have to kind of filter out any bits that might be left over if there's a batter or breading involved, and then get that into a bottle and back into your pantry. It's a huge ordeal. And even disposing of cooking oil is a huge ordeal. You can't just throw it in the trash. You have to take it to a special place for them to dispose the oil in an environmentally safe way. It's not fun. So, you know, there's bigger issues involved with deep frying, I feel like. Anyway, you got me off on a rant. What's the best way to commit mistakes when learning heat control? Undercooking, overcooking, stick your thermometer in something and staring at it. Thermometers are a big help. When you're cooking meat, having a thermometer, preferably a quick read thermometer, is great to have because it'll give you an idea of how quickly it's cooking. You know, for chicken, especially since you need to cook that all the way through, knowing when you're getting close to the temperature it needs to be is great to have. But as far as like temperature control, heat control, you know, I feel like typically folks who are new to cooking, from what I've seen, they turn the temperature up too high, and so then it cooks perfectly on the outside, but then the inside is still raw. So it's best to go like midway on your temperature if you're new to your stove and seeing how it behaves. And the first few things you cook may end up taking longer than you expect, or maybe a little burned on the outside. But with a thermometer and, you know, toying with the controls, temperature controls on your oven a little bit, you'll get a sense for what, you know, what you need to do to cook meat on your stove. So there's a bit of a learning experience for sure, but thermometers are very useful, meat thermometers are very useful, and just being open to, you know, playing with the knobs on your stove a little bit, not being afraid to turn it down or turn it up if things seem to be cooking too fast or too slow. Oh, okay, I didn't even realize you had called me. Gonna make some apple butter before your daughter's boyfriend leaves. We'll probably do it tomorrow. Apple butter, amazing. I still need to try doing homemade apple butter. But yeah, thank you for hanging out, Rev, and thank you everyone for hanging out this evening. A lot of fun. Let's see if we can go raid someone, huh? And yeah, so we'll be back Thursday this week for gaming. Plan right now is Mass Effect. So if you're curious to see how badly I will play Mass Effect, hopefully it won't be that bad, but you never know. Tune in on Thursday. And then our weekend stream is on Saturday this week. And it's Buster's birthday. Well, not on Saturday. His birthday's on Monday. But we'll do something on Saturday to celebrate his birthday. Lots of streamers I'm not familiar with in Food and Drink tonight. Oh, thank you, Carlos. Yeah, have a good sleep, and thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I think we will head over to Kyle over at A Date Night Inn. She's making, I think, tater tots. Maybe Hawaiian-inspired tater tots? It caught my attention, and it sounds really good, so I think we'll head over there. Those look like tater tots to me. It looks like she's forming them right now, so I made tater tots once, and it was a bit of a pain, to be honest, so I do want to try it again, but it probably won't be anytime soon, so we'll see how she's doing with it. So thank you all for hanging out tonight again. I appreciate it, and thank you all for the birthday wishes. I love you all. Thank you for hanging out. We'll be back Thursday with some gaming, and Saturday with some dog and human treats with similar flavors. If you're curious about that, I hope to see you Saturday. Yeah, until then, take care and stay well, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.